Hey, everybody, welcome in the building. It is Monday Night Trending Topics, and we got stuff to talk about. Listen, everybody, don't forget as you come in the building and you spending time with the Diva, do me a favor, hit the like button. Listen, guys, we got stuff to talk about. Tonight's title is Betrayal, Shame, and Mystery. Betrayal, Shame, and Mystery. We got this pastor. I don't know what's going on with the clergy these days. The clergy, the teacher, everybody is losing their natural mind. That when the pastor is stealing, God help us all. So the pastor stole $400K from the church. He was getting a church salary. They was taking care of him. But I guess he saw the money. He got a little crazy. He stole $400,000 from the church. He bought himself some cars. He paid his mother's mortgage. And he got busted. And he pled guilty. But he's facing 20-something years behind bars. And he got to pay back the money. I don't know what stories these people are looking at. But I have yet to see one criminal beat the system. And if they don't get caught today, they get caught tomorrow. And even if they get caught 17 years from now, they're going to get caught. I just don't understand. You stealing from the church? When you robbing God, you messy. Young pastor. Now you facing jail time. And for what? In the bigger scheme of things, I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. $400K is not a lot of money for you to be risking your life and going to jail. If you're going to do it, let it be millions. You messed up your good name and your life over $400K. You have got to be the biggest fool walking out there. I'm good. Y'all know how I feel all the time. And you know what? I love a good call out. I love when we have fun together. Not when people want to get nasty in the comments and start calling the panelists names and all that. Somebody called me out. They was like, Diva, you keep telling us you're going to show us the picture of your empty living room and you haven't showed it yet. I'm going to pull it up. And you know what? Today, I have something going on Wednesday. But between this week and next week, I promise y'all need to hold me to it. I'm going to dig the picture up and show it to y'all. Because it's for real, for real. I ain't playing with y'all. The living room was empty and the dining room too. I'm going to show it to them. I'm going to show it to y'all. But listen, this pastor wasted his life over $400K. Stupid. Now, we got this principal. I never in my life looked at a kid and was like, no, he cute. I think I want to talk to him. You legit as an adult looking at a young child and wanting to do something with them, you're sick. You're sick. So we got this principal, assistant principal. I think he was 20-some years in the game. He took a minor to his house. At 53, he about to spend the rest of his life behind bars. Listen, can we talk like adults for 1.2 seconds? I just want to talk like adults for 1.2 seconds. And y'all know I don't get crazy on my channel, but we got to talk like adults for 1.2 seconds. You can do whatever you want to yourself in your house. Please yourself. That's the easiest way I can say it by keeping this thing clean and PG. Please yourself. You touching a child. And you another one. You're a big dummy because now you're going to spend the rest of your life in jail. I don't care who you are and what you look like. And I don't care what your preference is. I promise you, I'm sure you could find a way to get somebody to sleep with you if that's what your desire is and that's what you want. Because I hate to say it, but the standards in these streets now with dating, the bar is low. It's in the gutter. People don't even require you to know nothing about them. You meet them today, 2 seconds later, they'll be sleeping with you. The bar is low. It's in the gutter. And if you have somewhat, if your bar is not even in the sky, your bar is somewhat above the bottom gutter level, the people looking at you sideways. But we're going to talk about this principle. And you know, I'm tired of hearing about the people at the schools, the jobs, the workplace, everywhere missing, and nobody knows what happened. His Navy cadet, his mother 1 minute texting him, talking about, I love you, I'm praying for you, thank God for you. Next minute, she getting a call talking about he dead and don't nobody know what happened. They talking about, no, matter of fact, let me back it up. They talking about he didn't show up for class and don't nobody know what happened. Listen, a lot of these schools, and whether I'm paying the money or not, whether my kid got to the school on a scholarship and is going in for free, or I'm giving up my money, when I sent my kid to the school and entrusted my kid's life in your hands, and now all of a sudden my kid is missing, oh, somebody going to give me some answers. Because I'm going to kick sand and raise ruckus until I get answers about my kid. Just like every now and then, I don't know why this kid pops in my head. That's why doing these stories, it ain't easy. You know, the kid that was pledging a fraternity and now he's dead. No, I want to know what happened to my kid. Somebody got to answer. And I want the answers like now. Now we don't know. Just like the young lady, how you going at work? You didn't finish your shift and don't nobody know nothing. Now, one of the subbies, they told me that they found her body. I didn't get a chance to look it up. But either way, it's very sad. But listen, people, y'all know what time it is. It's time for me to bring the people in the building. So what do I need in the chat? I need a choo-choo. Hold aboard, everybody. It is Monday Night Trending Topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title is Betrayal, Shame, and Mystery. We got the pastors stealing $400K from the parishioners. They thinking they giving their money to good, to God, to feed the homeless, to feed the keep the lights on in the church, and you out there buying cars and doing God knows what with their money. We got the principal and this Navy cadet, tragic end. Let me go ahead and bring the people in the building. Hey, Julius. Hey, Wayne.
Hey, Diva. Hit the like button.
Hey, Savannah. Hey, Katrina. Hey, listen, guys, I appreciate y'all coming through and spending Monday night with the Diva, okay? Let's go ahead and get right into this story. I could start anywhere because literally all of my stories have a video attached. So I usually try to do the video attached ones first, but they all got a video, so we'll get right into it. Let's go ahead and start with this. I guess we'll start with this. Who do I have here first? Let me cancel this 1 second. We'll start with the pastor. Let's start with the pastor. It's a shame.
Early first on 48, federal court documents obtained by WAFF show a former Huntsville pastor is going to plead guilty to federal wire fraud charges after he spent hundreds of thousands of church dollars on luxury items for himself. WAFF 48's Faith Delp has more on his purchases and his charges.
Adrian Davis was the senior pastor at the now closed Huntsville branch of All Nations Worship Assembly. New court documents show that Davis used the church's money from around 2018 to around 2020 to buy cars, shoes, and much more. This is Davis back in 2019, during the time he is accused of taking funds from the ANWA church. Court documents say he bought a $30,000 Audi and $45,000 GMC SUV with the church's money during this time. They also say Davis used the ANWA Church's fund to pay off over $100,000 of his own credit card debt. Court documents say some of the purchases on that credit card include a $4,900 purchase from Louis Vuitton and more than $18,000 in jewelry. The documents also say he used the church's money to pay his mother's mortgage. In addition to the wire fraud charges, Davis is going to plead guilty to filing a false tax return. Court documents show in 2021, Davis filed a false tax return stating he made around $138,000 in 2020, but he knew he received more than that. Court records show Davis has signed a plea agreement, pledging to plead guilty to federal wire fraud and filing a false tax return. As part of the agreement, he will have to pay back over $400,000 to the church and another $100,000 back to the IRS. He is also facing up to 23 years in prison across all charges. The U.S. Attorney's Office and Davis's attorney both declined to comment when I reached out earlier today. Now, Davis is scheduled to be arraigned right here in federal court on October 23rd. Reporting in Huntsville, Faith Delp, 48 News on your side.
Hold on, I have a little bit more information before we go around. So former Huntsville-area pastor pleads guilty to federal wire fraud income tax charges. Former All Nations Worship Assembly lead pastor Adrian Davis has pleaded guilty to charges of wire fraud and filing a false tax return, according to federal court documents. The problem I have with this is he shouldn't have had free access to this money. There should be a church board. Other people should perhaps be indicted that allowed him to have access to the money like this to be able to just use it. It's insane. While serving as pastor, Davis was given a salary and a parsonage, but not authorized to use church funds for personal expenses. Davis was accused of using more than $400,000 of the church money to buy cars, made payments to his personal credit cards for purchases of jewelry, clothing, and other items, and make mortgage payments for a home that was not part of the church. In part, by transferring part of the money from the church account to his personal bank account on his tax returns, he claimed far less income than he actually received. This took place between 2018 and 2021. As part of a plea deal, Davis will pay restitution in an amount of $434,340.41 to All Nations Worship Assembly and $114,859 to the IRS. He also has to forfeit any property connected to his crimes and waive his right to appeal outside of specific circumstances. He faces up to 23 years in prison and fines up to $500,000, along with supervised release. In his plea agreement, the government recommends sentencing at the low end of the sentencing guidelines because of his apparent prompt recognition and affirmative acceptance of personal responsibility for his criminal conduct. However, it will ultimately be the court's decision. Well, hopefully for him, maybe he's a first-time offender, and he did, like they said, accept the fact that he did wrong. Maybe they will give him on the lighter end. What I never understood is, and I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen, I don't understand how a person could ever come out and find a way to pay back all of that money. It's almost like $1 million that he's going to have to pay back. Julius, your thoughts?
This criticism is to the church. Where was y'all's business and finance committee?
Come on now.
The business and finance committee, they're the ones with the treasurer that goes over the money, the expenditures. And they give the pastor a little stipend for living expenses and everything else, but the pastor would not have access to the church's funds.
Talk about it.
And I'm gonna be frank with you. And people wonder why today church attendance is in decline. Stuff like this. We want to be out in the community saving souls and telling people, oh, if you do this, clean yourself up, you'll be worthy of God. But we don't want to hold those accountable in-house. So we got to look in the mirror. That church should have had a business and finance committee with a financier who handles the money, along with the secretary, only them seeing what's in the church businesses, assets, and all of that, along with the moderator. But knowing these crazy churches today, just like that pastor from years ago, he's a mega pastor, he used church funds by donations to buy a plane and everything else for his own enjoyment. So again, members of the church, quit being hypocrites and start looking in-house to hold those accountable. That's it.
Ooh, child. Thank you, Julius. Wayne, your thoughts?
I'm not surprised at this at all. I mean, this church board and the finance people, you talk about churches that's trying to run halfway decent. A lot of these churches don't believe in that. The pastor makes the decision. The money go through the pastor, and guess what? Some of the members out there, they love it. My pastor. They allow them to do it because they want their pastor to have the best. So he walks in there with his Louis Vuitton, and he got drivers Rolls Royce and whatever high price car. You sit them and say, that's my pastor. God then blessed him. So these people shouldn't be surprised. They look, it's only 400,000. And if the pastor was getting the money, who gave it to the pastor? I bet they riding in some nice cars too. I bet people right along associated with him living real good. See, he had to share that money. So he got 400. The rest of them split up. That's the way I believe. Because if you're a member of churches like these and you sit up there and see this BS going on and you sit your tail up in the church every Sunday morning and you see it with your own eyes and you do nothing about it. But if you believe that's God and whatever religious beliefs that you feel about your church and your pastor, go for it. So when you get taken, don't come crying. I'm done.
My God. Oh, Callie?
Yeah, I don't know who was helping him, but I believe someone was helping him. They had to be. Like, I don't believe he was managing the money for the church. Like, what pastor does that? No, I think that this was like a whole scheme they had going on. And whether or not, it's possible maybe the members didn't know because the stuff that he had wasn't really that flashy. Like, maybe they just thought he had a regular job. So I'm just glad he was caught and he's not continuing to take these people's money. But where did they think the money was going? Because it doesn't take that much money to maintain a building.
No, it takes a lot to maintain a building. So
$400,000.
No, just think of ourselves, right? In our own little small PSE&G bill. Well, in Jersey, it's called PSE&G. Our own little lecture bill we get and all of that. It does take a lot to keep up the grounds, especially depending upon how big the grounds are, whatever. The church I'm going to now, I had to do a new members class, and they're very transparent, and they have a whole, I actually love the way they're running this church. They have a whole area that runs the finances. And for this particular church, which I was shocked, I've never been to a church like this, but the pastor doesn't get a salary. The pastor doesn't get a salary. And I was shocked. They said, we take care of the pastor, right? It's a female pastor. But that church has been in existence for like hundreds of years, right?
Oh, okay.
And so, but the church is very clean, very well run. They got a kitchen, they got a soup kitchen, they have all of that. So it's a different concept. So I believe they pay. Don't quote me, nobody, but I believe they pay for her housing and they give other things. And on your envelope, and it's free will, and they're not in the church saying, "Give the pastor this or give this or give that." But on the envelope, you can give like a love offering to the pastor. And if you make sure you say, "This is what I give to the pastor," they will make sure that that particular money goes to the pastor. So on the envelope, you can tell, do I want my money to go to the food kitchen? Do I want it to go to my tithes? Whatever the case may be. But to run churches, it's a lot of money. But I also thought as a pastor, whatever, I thought they were exempt from taxes.
No, I think the church itself
They
is.
still have
Oh.
to pay
Yeah,
taxes,
not
but
their
they're-
personal salary, because
the
this happened with
pastor still
Jamal
has to pay.
Bryant. Yeah, where he owed hundreds of thousands of dollars in back taxes. I think if you take a personal salary, you have to pay income taxes. You're considered an employee. But
Got
the church itself, I believe, is exempt, from my understanding.
No, I think you're probably right. Thank you for
Yeah.
that education. I think you are probably right. Yeah. So I just had that. I just thought that in my head, whatever. But yeah, so it takes a lot. But I want to go back to what you said, Callie, about the 400,000. It probably was so much money in their bank for that particular church that they didn't realize until they realized
Yeah.
that he took and remember it said over a period of time. So he was kind of ciphering the money, and then they finally, I guess, when somebody went to do the book, it was like, okay, hold on, wait a minute, and they noticed that he was just transferring money directly to his account. But he should have never been the only one on that account. He shouldn't have had access like that to do that. So that church, they need to revamp the way they do their finances.
Yeah, I also think if you're donating money to anything, they should have public books. Just like if you were a shareholder for like a company that's being traded, you can go and pull the annual report for that company. I think that their books, you should be able to see like, okay, they spending this much on this cost that last year. Like, so it's like weird stuff like this doesn't happen. We don't know. He could have got someone's password and been doing this, and the person didn't know he was doing it.
Who knows, it could be anything. And again, this church I go to now, I believe they say they send out because the new members class was very well organized. I was impressed. I believe they do send out like their annual whatever. They're very transparent. They're very transparent. So yeah, but I hear you. So Katrina, your thoughts?
Hello, Diva. Hello, panel. Hello, chat. How y'all doing? Jesus, I'm tired. What I don't get, I wonder how many people came to him and asked for money to pay their rent or to pay electric bill, or they was down and out. I wonder how many people came to him and they probably turned them down, because before churches give you money and stuff like that, they have to meet. They have a committee meeting to see is it's there. So with this church right here, I just don't get it, because normally the secretary is the one that was doing the books and managing the money. And what I'm getting from him is, was he the secretary and the preacher? Because how you getting access unless somebody giving it to you? Because that's not how the churches work. Because they have a secretary, they have a bookkeeper, they have financial, they have nurses. You know what I'm saying? They have all those people there, set there for a reason. He did this. He should have just went on and took out a PPP loan, or did what Malvin Saps told them: lock the doors, close the doors, and held everybody in there till he paid $1,000. This is ridiculous. These people are insane. And for him to do that, and you didn't just do it, to help somebody on the out. You did it to help yourself. You wanted Louis Vuitton clothes and jewelry and big time cars. So you weren't even helping out your congregation. And I'm just sitting up there thinking, like, how many people sit up there paying their tithes and they're not getting anything back if they need that help because you taking it all. And I'm just surprised they let him took this. I know they said he was doing it, he was doing it in increments or whatsoever, but nobody paid attention to how he was getting his money. And then you was a fool. You know you can't play with that IRS. now you got to pay $100,000 back from that, and they don't play. If you don't pay that money, you going to jail. You going. So I don't know how he gonna get all his money back unless he gonna have to sell. Well, he got to forfeit all his stuff. So if he got to forfeit all the stuff, he can't even get money back on that too. To sell it, to even give it to people. I mean, man, you have messed yourself completely up, and that's what you get because you was in the church. You was in the church trying to be under God, but you was there as a devil, and now you ain't got caught up, and the devil sitting back laughing at you because he made a fool out of you. But that's all I got.
A whole fool. Oh my goodness. Savannah, your thoughts?
Hey, Diva. Hey, panel. Is 400,000 the magic number for the year of embezzling? Because it seems to be the common denominator in a lot of our stories this year on how much money folks are ripping off. I think this is, I'm with Wayne. I think this is some sort of abuse of the position of power that he's in and the trust that his congregation puts in him. But a lot of these people do, they'll look, they see it going on, but it's more of a blinding eye kind of thing. They see it, but they won't acknowledge it and recognize a pastor being as flashy or knowing that he doesn't get paid a salary that big, but he's riding around in Mercedes or Louis, and they know, but they just refuse to acknowledge it because that's their pastor. This is stories like these are why attendance in churches gone down, and Christians are looking at other ways to get their spiritual fulfillment, because you have these wolves in sheep's clothing that, I think this is an abuse of power, honestly, because they manipulate people. They abuse the trust that folks who are just looking for some type of spiritual fulfillment or just some type of peace in their weekly hectic lives. And Sundays is a day to go and worship and just to be in peace. But when your leader up there is a narcissist or abusing the trust of the place of worship that you go to, it's hard to support something like that. But I agree with Wayne. People will turn a blind eye and see that their pastor is being flashy, just to continue supporting their church. I don't get it. But I agree. He's a fool, and he's going to get caught up. And I don't ever. I used to watch Joel Osteen, but I also believe that he's doing his own thing as well.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them out there, and that's what's so sad. That is so sad. I don't know if we ever followed up on Shawnee's husband, Diva. That I thought about Shawnee's husband during this story of whatever happened with him, because I know he was asking for money as well. But you are correct. It takes a lot to run a church. It's not just for the building fund. There's a lot of programs that the church support. And there is a lot of internal expenses that the public is not privy to. But the Catholic Church that I go to, they also are transparent in their finances, and they do share a quarterly expense report with the parishioners. But it's on us who we ask. But I just think it's a shame. The people that really lose are the community that goes there looking for spiritual fulfillment.
I wholeheartedly agree, and it's sad, and because I think the people need it, right? The people who want it, they need it, because the world right now, people are so unhinged. People are snapping on for nothing. Listen, remember that just the other day I did the story where the woman lost her life over somebody not saying thank you. It's just it got to be some type of balance in life. You can't have stress at work, stress at home, then you're gonna go out in the streets, and when you're in the supermarkets and in these stores, you're gonna be stressful. You're gonna act a fool, and it's a shame. there are certain positions that you take in this world. Too much is given, much is required. Don't become a pastor if you're not ready, because it's a big role to fill. You got to be there when family members die. You got to comfort people through illness and help them understand, like, why me? Why did I get this deadly disease? Why did my kid die at 11? Why can't I have a child? It's so much. You gotta be ready for that role. In my opinion, did you want to say something before I move to the next story?
Move to your next one.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and roll into this next story. I will say this. I'll give this to him, like the courts is pretty much saying also, is the fact that he admitted, like, listen, I did this. I'm gonna go ahead and plead guilty, and hopefully, you know, for his sake, because he did admit to it, and he is gonna have to pay the money back. And good luck, because I don't know how many jobs you can get to try to pay all that money back. But maybe it will prevent him as a first-time offender for doing a whole bunch of jail time. Maybe he could get some probation, ankle bracelet on. I don't know. So I'll stay connected to the story and see if I can find anything. And there's a lot of stories I've been staying connected to, but nothing has come up yet. Like, for instance, nothing new has come up in this David case. Nothing new has come up with the cheerleader who put the baby in the closet. There's a few stories I kind of write down little notes for myself, and every now and then I go check to see if something new has come up, and nothing yet. So I'm going to go ahead and roll into this next story. And this next story is this principal. What a goddamn disgrace, touching the kids. And you know, now your whole career and it's up in smoke, and the kid's life is destroyed because of you. Let me see. I think this is the video here. Let's go back. All right.
Assistant principal charged with an unthinkable crime. An administrator in Detroit is behind bars tonight, accused of sexually assaulting a young student. We do have to start with a warning. The details of this case are disturbing. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Ty Steele.
I'm Kimberly Gill. 54-year-old Jerome Younger served as the assistant principal of Edward Ellington Conservatory of Music and Art at Beckham Academy in Detroit. We're told the alleged assault happened off school grounds.
Noelle Friel has been looking into this story tonight. Noelle, we understand Younger is no longer working at the district.
Yeah, that's right. Tonight, a district spokesperson confirmed that alleged assault happened at Younger's house. He's now been arraigned on criminal sexual conduct charges. He's been placed on leave and is no longer allowed on school property as the district launches an internal investigation.
54-year-old Jerome Younger now facing charges of first and second degree criminal sexual conduct, accused of sexually assaulting a student at his home. If convicted, he's facing up to life in prison. Younger's biography on the Duke Ellington School website states he has more than 28 years of experience in education and that he's involved in several organizations that provide mentorship to children, including the Detroit Police Department's Junior Police Cadet program, where it claims he spent over 38 years teaching teens employment skills. We've reached out to DPD for more information. The Detroit Public Schools Community District confirmed it was made aware of Younger's arrest. In a statement, the district said Younger has been placed on leave pending the outcome of an internal investigation and any criminal proceedings, and is not permitted to be on DPSCD property, adding, "We are unaware of any other alleged wrongdoing." Younger was arraigned Thursday and was given a 10% cash surety bond of $250,000. If released, he'll have to wear a steel cuff tether and have no contact with the alleged victim.
And Macomb County Prosecutor Peter Lucido said the allegations in this case represent some of the most serious offenses under Michigan law and said his office remains committed to pursuing justice for victims of sexual violence. Younger's next court appearance is scheduled for October 22nd. Reporting live, Noelle Friel, Local 4.
New details tonight in the disturbing allegation.
Hold on, I have more details here. Let me share screen. So Detroit assistant principal accused of SAing a child at his home. That is when he appeared in court. So Roseville, Michigan, an assistant principal at a Detroit school has been charged with SAing a child. Jerome Younger, 54, was arraigned Thursday on charges of first and second degree criminal conduct. It's alleged Younger assaulted a child at his home on Wednesday. Prosecutor says the alleged victim is a former student who Younger had been mentoring for 7 years. He probably was messing with the person for 7 years. He's disgusting. Younger's attorney denied the claim. Younger, a Roseville resident, is the assistant principal of Edward Duke Ellington Conservatory of Music and Art at Beckham Academy. It's academy for students in pre-K through 8th grade. Detroit Public Schools Community District responded in a statement saying Younger has been placed on leave and is not permitted on school property at this time. It is our understanding that the minor is a current student and the alleged assault occurred off of the school grounds at the employee's home. We are unaware of any other alleged wrongdoing associated with this administrator, but will ensure an investigation to ensure that this is the case. Part of the district statement said. Younger's bond is set at $250,000. If released, he's ordered to have no contact with children. Younger has a probable cause conference scheduled for October 22nd and a preliminary exam set for October the 29th. So if the school goes up to the 8th grade, and we know that it was a current student, then that tells you right there how young this student was. This man is sick. Julius, your thoughts?
Sicko. And did I mention he was a sicko? He's a sicko. But again, even though he's out on bond, he's still out. I don't know why he's not held.
He's not out on bond yet. They said if he gets out on bond, he will have to
he needs to be held.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Savannah, your thoughts?
Diva, I was thinking with the same mindset as you. So the school went up to 8th grade. So this is a child, not barely a teenager, and he was mentoring them, in quotes, for 7 years, according to the story. So this was this was a young child then. So he's had a relationship between him and this child, not Lord forbid that anything's happened when this was a baby, but was he grooming this child? I mean, if this man if he does get bonded out, he should immediately be put on the SA list or the SO list. He shouldn't be allowed in any types of public libraries or anywhere where children are, because if he had a relationship with this child for 7 years, that means the child was young. And Lord forbid, I hope he doesn't have any children. This is absolutely heartbreaking that and he was an assistant principal, again, someone in a position of power, and that parents are blindly trusting their children to go to their home unsupervised. But I'm so lost. I'm so lost. I really don't understand how this story, I hope that the child gets the proper mental health care that it's going to need for the rest of its life. It doesn't say whether it was a female child or a male child. I didn't catch that in the story. Was it a female or male?
Yeah, they didn't tell us. They didn't tell us. Yeah, but it's sad.
Yeah, that nonetheless, it's still a child, and this child is now going to have to carry those scars for the rest of their life, and it is absolutely heartbreaking. I don't know. I'm so lost, Eva. I'm thinking it was, and it doesn't make it any better. I was hoping it would say it was like 16, 17, but an eighth grader, I think that only goes up to like, let's see,
12 years old.
12, 13?
12. 12.
12.
13.
Okay. 13. That's still barely. All right. Yeah, I hope that he goes to jail for a very long time.
Yeah, very sad. Wayne, your thoughts?
You know, the sad thing about this is that this is the only one we know of. It's hard to believe that this man worked this close with children in so many organizations, you know, and not have happened to somebody else. And it's just been covered up, or he's just been that smooth, whatever, you know. And I think with this, I think this just might be the tip of the iceberg, because he's been an assistant principal for quite some time, correct?
He's been in education for 30 plus years.
Yeah. And he's been around children all this time. And I don't think this is the first time.
Right.
That's it.
Ooh, Callie, your thoughts?
Yeah, I have a feeling that probably more victims may come forward, or they might be afraid or traumatized to come forward. But this man's been working for a long time. I have a feeling, unfortunately, that there are more victims. I'm just glad he was finally caught. I wish he would have been caught sooner.
Yeah.
But at least he is in jail, and he hopefully will not get out. You know, who knows what type of home this kid came from. And, you know, the only thing you could really do is tell people that they need to be vigilant of stuff like this. But if some kid has an unstable home life, those are kids that usually become victims, unfortunately.
Very
because the parents aren't paying attention, or the kids that are being bullied because they can't really socialize with other kids because they're being bullied. And so these people prey upon them, you know. So that's all I can say is just try to be vigilant of these type of people.
Yeah, it's very sad. Katrina, your thoughts?
Like, we don't know that child background or whatsoever, but these parents needs to stop letting these people take your kids home. I don't care if you is a principal, assistant principal, or you doing this and doing that. My child's not gonna be in your care, and I don't know what your house environment is. I don't know what's this, what's that. I don't know what you got over at your house. I mean, I'm just not. I guess I wasn't just that trusting like that, because when they was small, I would wake up and see if they breathing, because that's how frantic I was. That's how frantic I was. I want to make sure they were breathing.
Yeah.
And so for y'all to just let y'all kids go with these people just because they supposed to be a principal or educator or a policeman or so and so, and you just letting your kids go with these people. And you're right, in my opinion, it is 13. You're 13 when you're in the 8th grade, but you letting these kids, and then you've been with this child ever since the child had, you say 7 years, so that's basically ever since the child was 6. So I guess the parent trusts you that much to hang out with a 6-year-old, and he's supposed to been tutoring the 6-year-old. What are you tutoring the 6-year-old for? I mean, they barely knowing their ABCs. They watching Sesame Street. So what are you tutoring him about? Is he playing sports? Is he doing this? Is he doing that? This is just, I mean, like I said, and I understand sometimes parents let them people take over because if they got to work and they ain't got nobody helping them, it might be a parent home. We don't know all that, but I'm just saying I get that too. But stop being so trusting, letting y'all kids go with these people, because sometimes these people get these jobs because they want to prey on kids, and it's very, very easy to do if they in that position to do it. So you just got to be vigilant with your kids, because these people are predators. They're demons. They just want to take their innocence, and these kids be messed up for the rest of their life. But he don't need to get out. He needs to stay right in there, and they need to put him in the population so he can get what he gave that child. That's all I got.
Thank you. In my opinion, your thoughts?
This is son of something. First of all, there is nothing that should be interesting about a 6 to 13-year-old that entices you to bring them home and trying to touch on them. He is sick, okay? And I wish they would just put them in a circle and set them on fire because I'm so tired of hearing these stories. I really am. We heard the bus story the other day, last week. I am so tired of hearing these stories. I don't know what's up with parenting these days because from the area I came in, we taught our kids what bad touching was. You know what I'm saying? And to alert your parents when it was a bad touching being done. These parents these days ain't doing their due diligence. They ain't checking with their kids to find out if they okay. They ain't asking them, did anybody touch you? How you feel? Somehow we lost the good parenting. It didn't get passed down like it used to. But for this man to feel this comfortable to take a kid home and fill him up, this ain't his first time.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing. He knew the right parents to pick and the right child to pick. The one that was not going to talk. These people prey on kids that they can manipulate and the parents that they can use to get what they want. I hate it. And I really wish they would all just burn.
I appreciate you. Yeah, this is a very sad story. Let me go ahead and roll into the last story. This Navy cadet, super sad, very tragic. Let me go ahead and just share screen. Everybody just make sure you're on mute so we can hear everything.
Please let me find him. As soon as we got to their home, you could feel their pain. Please help me find him. Maria Laurent tries to comfort her daughter Diane, whose only child is now missing. Kyle is a midshipman at the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis. Thursday morning around 6:30, his mother sent him a text. Diane is a religious woman. She said, "Lord, thank you for Kyle. Give him peace. I love you, Kyle." Kyle replied, "I love you more." She didn't think anything was wrong until the Naval Academy called her around 5 that afternoon.
I got a phone call from his battalion officer at the Naval Academy telling me that he didn't show up for any of his classes.
Kyle's grandmother has been trying to get more information. She called the Naval Academy.
I asked the lady, did you question the roommate? She told me she can't give me this information.
Kyle has been at the Naval Academy for 3 years. He and his mom are very close. They text almost every day. His whole family is upset and worried, and his aunt says she called Baltimore police a couple of times and says there was no report filed for a missing person.
The only information he had was Kyle was a little bit stressed out, and he didn't show up to none of his classes throughout the day, but they questioned the roommate and then they questioned his colleagues.
But that's it. That's all they know. His mother says Kyle loves being at the academy and never misses his classes. She says he got a new roommate this year, and he likes his roommate. Now, all they can do is wait and pray.
I went to visit him in September, their parents' weekend, and I went to visit him. He was really happy. He was really happy when he saw me.
Very sad.
Well, it started as a simple act of kindness, holding a door open for.
All right, let me share screen. Hunt for the truth. Mystery death of missing Navy cadet Kyle Philbert James under investigation after his tragic last forward text to mom. Hours after sending the text, the Navy cadet's mother received a worrying call from his battalion officer. A Navy Academy cadet has been mysteriously found dead, sparking an urgent probe. So, midshipman Kyle Philbert James' body was discovered days after he failed to show up to classes. So, unfortunately, they know now that he is no longer alive. James 20 has been a student at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, for 3 years, but he failed to show up for his classes on Thursday, sparking a huge concern. His mother, Diane, revealed she sent him a religious text message at about 6:30 a.m. that morning, as reported by CBS affiliate. Lord, I thank you for Kyle. Shine your light upon him. Shower him with your love and protect him, Jesus, the message said. Guide him in your ways and give him peace. Amen. I love you, Kyle. James of Whippany, New Jersey, replied to the text saying, I love you more. The pair constantly kept in touch, his family said. Hours later, Diane received a call from her son's battalion officer saying he hadn't shown up for class. The student's family recorded how he had been feeling stressed before he failed to attend his classes. But Diane reflected how her son had been enjoying studying at the academy. She visited her son for a parents' weekend in September and said he was happy to see her. He was really happy when he saw me, she said through tears. James' death is being probed by the Naval Academy. Annapolis police didn't receive any missing person reports before his death, according to the family. Kyle Philbert James, a midshipman, has been found dead just days after failing to show up for classes at the U.S. Naval Academy. He and his mother, Diane, had their last conversation on October 9th, and I read what she wrote. James, a history major, performed in the Academy's gospel choir. Ashley, a spokesperson for the Naval Academy, labeled the student's death as painful. It is painful to lose a member of our Naval Academy family. As we attempt to better understand this tremendous loss, we offer our deepest condolences to Philbert James' family, close friends, classmates, and company mates during this extremely difficult time, he told the Baltimore Banner. Undergraduate studies at the Naval Academy for 4 years before they graduate. And after graduation, they serve at least 5 years in the Navy or the U.S. Marine Corps. The college, founded in 1845, is the top public school in the U.S. and has the second highest freshman retention rate, according to the Navy. Last fall, it was reported that more than 4,400 students were enrolled at the college. He's dead. We got no answers. I don't know what's going on. Julius, your thoughts?
My heart breaks for that mother. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
My heart breaks for that mother. Hearing a mother's cry. I talk about this plenty of times because I heard it in my own family. Over the loss of their child is gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, and there's nothing you can do except let them cry.
Thank you. Yeah, it's sad. Thank you, Julius. Savannah, your thoughts?
This is gut-wrenching as well, but I do not agree with the family saying that there's nothing that they can do, because there is. They can demand to speak with either, don't go to SecDef. SecDef is definitely not going to do anything about it, but she can take it all the way to Joint Chiefs of Staff, or the Secretary of the Navy, Phelan. She can definitely contact his office, or go to who is Secretary of the Navy right now? Let me see, Admiral Cottle. She definitely, because the Navy, especially on Annapolis, that security on that base is very, very tight. So this is something that it happened internal. I this story reminds me of Vanessa Guillen, that Army soldier that was came up missing on Fort Hood a few years ago, about 5 years ago, and her family. The military was saying the same thing, you know, telling them just stand by the phone and wait, and we'll let you know, and there's nothing you can do. And her family wasn't taking that as an answer. They stood outside that base with signs, and they demanded that CID and do an investigation, and they were able to solve that case within a month. And then a few months later, they were able to find Vanessa's body. But the parents, the families, there's definitely a lot they can do by making noise and demanding that either meeting with Joint Chiefs of Staff Secretary Felon, or go straight up to the top. Because if it was my child, I want answers. I'm not taking anybody stand by and wait. This is a military installation. There's nothing but security all over the place. You can't get away with just anything. Somebody knows what happened, and they're just covering it up. There was just this big shooting on the base a week ago with 47 and all his people, and they're getting ready to celebrate the Army Navy games. So something happened internally, and they're just covering it up. And they definitely need to speak to either the admiral, or just take it straight to the top, go to the Pentagon, make some noise. But because there is definitely a lot that the family can do, and to demand answers on what happened to their son. He's been there for 3 years. This isn't that he's just new and didn't know the system. He knew his way around that base and knew some people. And I just believe that this is a cover up all the way around. It's unfortunate, but the family can definitely get answers.
Yeah, it's very sad. Wayne, your thoughts? Wayne, are you there? Okay, I don't know what's going on with Wayne. Callie, your thoughts?
I think that it's sad that they gotta really, first you lose your child. Now you have to go through this whole crusade to try to get somebody to tell you what happened. And like I said, I don't think that this is some type of mysterious thing that happened. I think either they are covering for someone, or they don't care, or it's something weird that somebody's pulling. But yeah, they need to tell this lady what happened to her child.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It's very sad. Very sad. In my opinion, your thoughts?
That's a military base. They happened on this base that they don't know about. I don't buy this. And let me tell you why I don't buy this. They keep putting the emphasis on that he had a new roommate. That's rubbing me the wrong way. He's been there for 3 years, and all of a sudden he has a new roommate, and he comes up missing. I'm telling you, if I was them people, I would shout so my mouth couldn't shout no more. They had to give me some answers. Because you're not telling me, first of all, for the last few days, these people have been wrecking their brains because he was missing. Yet and still, nobody had any accounts that he was missing. Then they find his body, and they don't do no investigation. Oh no, military base? You is kidding me? Okay, that's not even how they operate. Normally, when they find something like this, they lock the base down to figure it out if they do an investigation. So all of this is sitting funny with me. Yes, I need her to fight harder. I know this is painful, and I know she probably don't want to because she's grieving. But I need sis to put on her big girl panties and fight for her child.
Thank you. Katrina, your thoughts?
My thoughts are, when they found him, like
what condition was he in? Was it self-inflicted? What did he drown? Did what was his condition when you found him? And anytime that you have any deaths on a military base, they have to do an autopsy to see what that person died from. So that mom, she might have to go get an outsider, because this seems like to me that they're trying to hide something. Because there's every time that somebody died on a military base, they definitely do an autopsy. That's the first thing they do. And for them to say they don't know what happened to him, but how did you find him? Like, what condition was he in? I'm got so many questions, because this is not making any sense to me. And I know the military can be shady. Trust and believe. I know about the military. They can be very, very shady, and they can hide things that they want to keep hid. You get what I'm saying? They can do all that. And as we know, Annapolis is like the Naval Academy. So he's going there, and they're saying that he was stressed out for 3 years. So he never told his mom that he was stressed and all that. Yes, that's a stressful job. But the thing of it is, when you feeling that way, they will give you counseling, or they'll tell you to take a step back. So he never told this to his commanding officer. He never told this to he never told this to nobody, that he's feeling this stress or whatever. And then, like, in my opinion, say he get a roommate, and all of a sudden he's not here anymore. Like, that's weird. That's totally weird. And it's like I said, it's a lot of stuff that happen in these military bases. It's a lot of stuff that happen with sexualities in the military bases. But like I said, there's no way that she can't get an autopsy done, because anybody that been found unalive, or anybody that had any type of deaths on a military base, they do a mandatory autopsy. And maybe that would tell us what happened, because telling me you just found my child's body, like, okay, but you just found his body. So what condition, that's a lot of stuff to know. She need to get an outsider, because the military are going to do everything they can to lock it down, because they don't want bad publicity. But she really need to get an outside lawyer and a military lawyer. But the best thing is to get an outside one first, because they're going to say military is military and civilian is civilian. You can still break through those rules if you go in there and you let them know exactly what's going on. You can always get an outside lawyer. But they ain't sure. They supposed to do an autopsy on her son, and maybe that will give her some type of leeway of what happened, because they're not telling us what happened. We just found his body. But that's not making any sense. But
it's not.
No, it's not making any sense to me. That's not making any sense. And he didn't show up in class, and then you call his mom saying that he didn't show up in class whatsoever. So did you see him walk off the base? Did you see him leave the base? It's so much within that. It's in that era, and I know, and that's why I'm surprised, because basically they started the battle buddy system, because a lot of girls was getting art and stuff on these bases. That's why you always got to have somebody with you. So I'm just surprised that nobody was with him, and body just get found. This is weird to me. This is totally weird. But I hope she stay on it, investigate it, do what she got to do, because they're going to do everything to lock this down and to give her as little answers as possible. But she need to get an outside lawyer as well. But that's all I got.
Thank you. Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Katrina. You know, when you with the military, it's a entirely different world. You got their own lawyers, their own what they call uniform code of military justice. So she's going to really need to get a good lawyer, because now it's you versus the government. If you're trying to bring a case, because surely it's nowhere in the world, with all the intelligence we have, with cameras everywhere, they can almost track you from the time you leave. You know, there's a camera everywhere. At some point, they can have a date stamp, where you were at each point. And like Savannah said, this is the Naval Academy. Their cameras all over the place, and they don't take that stuff lightly. So I don't know why they would cover something like this up, but you're not going to be unalived somewhere on a military installation and nobody don't know about it. So rest in peace. I hope they get a good outcome from this, but I can see it's just going to be a struggle trying to fight the government. That's it.
Yeah, it's very sad. I appreciate you. And everybody else. I will stay. It's very strange. Increased matters. I will stay connected to this story because I felt so bad for the mom, her only child. Whether it was her only child or her 10th child, it still matters, right? But I felt so bad for her only child, and literally, she just sent him a text. He responded to the text, and next thing you know, she's getting a phone call talking about he didn't show up for class. And I'm wondering now if perhaps somebody else answered that text.
Diva, that was my assumption as well. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if somebody else answered that text and he been dead. It just don't make sense. I just literally answered the text. Now I'm getting a call talking about he ain't show up for class. And then next thing you know, I'm calling him. And now next thing you know, he's dead. Like, this just don't make no sense. And it's sad. A lot of things happen at these schools. And listen, we gotta, at some point, we gotta release, right? We can't watch our kid 24/7. But it's sad when you they tell you to do the right thing, right? Your kid is in school. How more right can you get than that? And now they're gone. Listen, guys. Continue to chat with me in the comments. I definitely will chat back when I get an opportunity. If y'all didn't hit the like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. Yes, Val, something is fishy and not right about this story, and we're going to stay connected. That principal, he's a dirty bastard. And the pastor, he owned up to his error. So I'm gonna give him that. But thanks for watching, guys. Good night and goodbye, everybody. Choo choo.
Choo choo.